Hi all. Today we are going to start classes on polity, and which is the most important topic that we identified is CAG, because either in prelims or mains you can't find any question paper without having anything being asked from Comptroller and Auditor General of India. So I have attended a 4 time civil services interview, and based on my experiences, based on my analysis, I have prepared these notes from Lakshmikant, and I think if you just hear my sessions, if you just hear my notes, I think you will be able to attend most of the questions that is there in Lakshmikant, that has been asked from Lakshmikant, and that has been asked in any of the civil service examination, either in state services or union services. So the Constitution of India, in the Constitution of India, Article 148 provides an independent office of CH. So actually he is the head of, there is a department in government, Indian Audit and Account Department. So he is the head of this department, and mostly or till now the trend is senior IS officer. He will be among the senior IS officer who will be heading this department. That is why this department is called the guardian of public purse, because it controls the whole financial system in both the levels, center and state levels. So when we'll be going in the next part of the chapter, you'll be getting to know why he is called as guardian of public purse. So in any organization, either in government or in any organization, finance is a lifeline. So here also our finance administration is the lifeline of our complete government democratic structure, and in that he plays a very critical role. So he actually protects, this role actually protects the clauses of constitution related to financial administration. That is why B.R. Ambedkar told this is one of the most important officer under the Constitution of India, and is among the bulwarks of Indian Constitution, or the bulwarks of Government of India. Similarly like Supreme Court judge, similarly like Election Commission, similarly like UPSC. So now we'll be taking care of how their appointment happens. So actually the CAG is appointed by the President of India under his warrant and seal. So he takes oath. This is not very important part. They don't ask specifically about what the stake in oath, but we need to just having a brief idea is they'll take oaths to bear the true faith and allegiance towards the Constitution of India, to uphold the sovereignty and integrity of India, and then duly and faithfully and to the best of his ability, knowledge and judgment performs the duty of his office without fear or favor. That is important, because he is a constitutional body, and having fear may deter his responsibility. Also he upholds the constitution because and the laws, as he holds the office for a period of that is the examination question you should remember. Being a constitutional body, he holds up to 6 years or up to the age of 65 years, whichever is earlier. Also he can resign only by writing to the President of India, but to protect this constitutional post, there are very tough terms and conditions has been put up for his removal. So he will be removed on the similar pattern as the removal of a judges of Supreme Court, and he can be removed only by President, but by a resolution passed to both the houses of the Parliament with special majority, and he can be removed only and only on the ground of proved misbehavior or incapacity. So this role has to be independent. So to make this role as independent role, we need to consider some of the very important things which has to be protected to make this role as independent. So how we can keep any constitutional body as independent? First is securing their term. First is securing their term. Okay, and he can be removed by the president, similarly that we discussed just now, only in accordance with the procedure mentioned in the constitution, that is resolution passed in both the houses with special majority, and only on the ground of misbehavior or incapacity, proved misbehavior. Is not eligible for further office either under the government of India or he ceases to hold his office. So he is not eligible for any post in the government of India after his resignation. So this also gives a ground for his to work as an impartial officer. And the current government, politically he cannot be influenced if he doesn't have any scope to be get re-employed. His salary and other service conditions are determined by Parliament, and his salary will be equal to the salary of a Supreme Court judges. And one very important thing is neither his salary nor his rights can be altered to his disadvantage after his employment. Clear? The condition of the service of the person serving in IAS department, the administrative power of the CAG are prescribed by the President in consultation with CAG. So all the procedures of administrative powers of this is prescribed by the President in consultation with CAG. So it's not like government cannot decide by own without consulting CAG. This gives a pretty decent level of power. Second is administrative expenses of the office of CAG, including all salaries, allowances and pensions of the persons serving in that office are charged upon the Consolidated Fund of India. So they are not subject to voting. They comes under the charge expenditure, that will be getting to know what is charge expenditure in Parliament chapter. So what happened is there is a CFI, Consolidated Fund of India. From there all the salaries are paid to the different officers, but other payments are subject to vote. But in this case it is voted in such a way that it can be like automatically debited from this account and it cannot be reduced, or is not required any voting. That is why their salaries are being protected to be getting reduced. Further, no minister can represent CAG in the Parliament. So this 7 points gives him independence. First is security of term, then there is no opportunity for re-employment in Government of India. Then his service conditions cannot be altered. His service conditions and salaries are equal to the Supreme Court. Then his rights and salaries cannot be altered. So this gives his enough power. Now he has some duties and powers that need to be discussed. So Article 148 gives the position, what is the position of CAG and how we can give independence. Now Article 149 gives the provisions for his duties and powers. So actually he authorizes Parliament. Article 49 authorizes the Parliament to prescribe the duties and powers of CAG. So CAG position has been set up under the Act, Duties, Powers and Conditions of Service Act 1971. And this act was amended in 1976. This is a very important amendment. Why? Because previous to 1976 he was head of accounts and head of audit departments. So it was understood that the same person who is head during accounting cannot be a very impartial, cannot be a rational auditor. That is why the account section has been taken out from this department, and now this department only takes care of audit part. So in 1976 accounts was separated from audit in the central government. So the duties is, first duty is to audit the accounts of all expenditure from CFI of India of India. 1 minute. Yes. Consolidated fund of each state and union territory having legislative assembly. Then he audits CFI expenditure, all expenditure of CFI India and public accounts of India, as well as contingency fund of state and public account of each state. So that means CFI and public accounts of state and center, both things are audited by CAG. Also audits the trading, manufacturing, profit loss accounts, balance sheets and other subsidiary accounts kept by the central government and the state government. Also it audits the receipts and expenditure of center and each state. Very clear? Also it audits all bodies and authorities substantially financed by center and state. Also the government companies and other corporations when so required by the laws. Also audits all the transactions of center and state government related to debt, sinking fund, deposits, advances, suspense accounts and remittance businesses. So he also audits receipts, stock accounts and others with the approval of president when required by the president. That clause we need to remember. Again, he has a very lot of responsibilities. Other responsibility is he audits the account of any other authority when requested by president or governor. For example, audit of local bodies. So either governor or president has to request. Also advises the president with regard to the prescription of the forms. So he prescribes the form in which account of the center of state should be kept out. So this is very important because it's specifically mentioned by Article 150, says that CAG advises president on way of maintaining the forms of the accounts in center and state. Also he audits the reports related to account of center to the president, which shall in turn place them before the House of the Parliament. This is Article 151. So he audits the report related to accounts of center and gives it to president, and the president places this account in front of both the houses. When he submits his audit report related to account of a state to governor, who shall in place similar way in a state legislature. So this both comes under Article 151. Got it? Now he ascertained and certified the net proceeds of any tax or duties. That is, his certificate is final, where net proceeds means the proceed of tax or duty minus the cost of collection. So how much tax need to be collected minus there is a cost of collection by appointing officer, by setting up a structure for the collection of the taxes. So he ascertains and certifies the net proceeds of any tax. Also act as a guide, friend and philosopher of Public Account Committee of the Parliament. So what is Public Account Committee? That we will be covering in Parliament chapter. The CAG submits 3 audit reports to the President. Audit report on appropriation account. Got it? Then report on finance accounts. And then audit of public undertakings. 3 types of reports he submits to President. One is appropriation accounts, one is report on finance accounts, and one on report on public undertakings. The President lays this report before both the houses of the Parliament. And after this, the PSC committee examines them and reports the findings to the president. What happens? He prepares report on three parts. One is appropriation account, one is finance account, and one is public undertaking account, and submit it to the president. Then president submit it to both the houses of the parliament, and then PSC is an important committee of parliament, examines them and reports its finding to the parliament. The appropriation account compare the actual expenditure with the expenditure sanctioned by the parliament through appropriation act, while the finance account shows annual receipt and disbursement of the union government. Clear? So appropriation account compares the actual expenditure with the expenditure sanctioned by the parliament through appropriation act, and finance account shows annual receipt. So one side is appropriation shows how much expenditure you have done, and finance account shows how much receipts you have done. Again, now we'll go for his role. So the role of CAG is to uphold the Constitution of India and the laws of Parliament in the field of Parliament administration. Same way, he has accountability of the executive, like Council of Ministers to the Parliament in sphere of financial administration is secured through the audit reports of CAG. Also, he is an agent of the Parliament and conducts audit of expenditure on behalf of Parliament. He is responsible only to Parliament. Got it? He is responsible only to Parliament. CAG has more freedom with regard to audit of expenditure than with regard to the audit of receipt, stores and stock. So mostly, though it's a flaws, he audits the thing which already has been done. So mostly he will be able to find the mistakes rather than setting up certain things which can avoid future mistakes. That still Indian government has to work upon to see this area, but still that is a loophole that exists in our constitution. So that is why where in relation to expenditure he decide the scope of audit and frame his own audit code and manual, he has to proceed with the approval of executive government in relation to rules for the conduct of other audits. So that is the important part. Rest are very common, that is not asked, that is in quite detail, that you can look after Lakshmikant and see that part. Only CAG and corporation, some important part is, see, role of CAG in the auditing of public corporation is very limited. Broadly speaking, his relations with the public corporation falls into the three categories. One is, some corporations are totally audited and totally and directly by CAG. For example, it's a pure central government organizations like corporation body like DVC, ONGC, Air India Corporate, other. So this may come in prelims where CAG audits directly to which organizations, and they'll list out a name. In that you have to identify the correct name. Some other corporations are audited by private professional auditors who are appointed by the central government in consultation with CAG. If necessary, only CAG will supplement that. And other things are subjected to private audit. In other words, the audit is done exclusively by private professional and CAG does not come into the picture at all. So they submit their annual reports or accounts directly to Parliament. Example of such as Corporation of Life Insurance, LIC, RBI, State Bank of India, Food Corporation of India, and other. And the role of CAG in auditing the government companies are also limited. So actually CAG mostly take care of the government expenditure, government receipts, and PSC accounts. So this is all about the CAG role. In that we can give some of the statistics. 1968, an audit board was established as a part of CAG to associate outside specialists and experts to handle the technical aspect of audit, specialized like engineering, iron, steel, and chemical, and so on. The board was also established on the recommendation of ARC Commission. ARC Commission has recommended to set up this audit board, and it consists of a chairman and 2 members appointed by CAG. Basically, one more point I have to mention here is they are not a general auditor. CAG is a performance auditor. So it doesn't mean that how much amount has been taken out from the government account and how much has been received. It also says where the performance done by the expenditure or the way of taking out the account is correct or not, or is optimized or not, has is the actual auditing process been followed by CAG. I think within these points, whatever we have mentioned here, I think no questions can come outside of that. So just revise the stuff, have a look at once, multiple times this video, and I think you're going to attend all the questions which has been asked from CAG topic of Indian polity. Thank you for attending the session.